Yeah, exactly right. You say skill is easy to teach, like what to do is easy to teach. But the difficult part is really transforming whatever they learn, right, in the class to practical implementation.
There are actually two things that I learned from that story alone. So first
Mm,
of all, you realize that what Colin said at the beginning, whenever you do something, you're usually not great at it, right?
mm,
And you are paying school fees in a way,
yeah.
okay? And you just gotta keep going and keep going. And what most people they do is they shortchange themselves by giving up too early. Because if you give up too early, then every school fee that you're paid for will go into loss.
Yes.
But it is not a loss if you keep going, because eventually you can make back everything. The second thing I realized is that in terms of his breakthrough, every one of us, when we're paying school fee, there will be a point where the breakthrough is always a prerequisite of like inspiration or desperation. I heard this from Tony, right? Tony Robbins that says that it's always inspiration or desperation. Most
Mm.
of the time, it's desperation. You know,
Yes.
when you share about your debt story, is I can relate that to so much. Like so many people ask me like, why do I want to be an entrepreneur? I'm like, it's not fun. It's really
Yeah.
not fun. The kind of things that you have to go through, the up and down, the kind of headache, the kind of pressure and the stress you have to take, right? I was forced into it because I was in a $500,000 debt and I had no way out. I
Mm.
calculated, hey, if I work a 9 to 5 job, it would take me 60 years, just to pay off the debt. So there was no other way. If you are in your desperation point right now, for those of you who are watching and listening to this, if you are going through a season where you're in a desperate point, right? Just remember this: if you give up everything that you have already invested, will be a loss. And the desperation point is usually the breakthrough point, right?
Correct.
You're that close, right? That close.
Right. Yeah, the
So
interesting thing is, sorry, just want to, I will
go
interject
ahead.
for people who are feeling down right now, right? Sometimes when you are, and I didn't know about this 500,000 debt that you have also, but when you are down at that point, there's no way to see the brightness of the future. It means when I calculated, I can't even make back my interest. But the key is really take one step at a time. I mean, every day when you wake up, you take massive action. Just do whatever you can, and just
Yeah.
keep moving along lah. And then
Yeah.
eventually it will get brighter and brighter and brighter. If you
Yeah.
just think, you will get stuck in that rut. Why this happened, why this happened, why this happened. Then you get stuck in that rut. So really just take a lot of action. And don't know what works or doesn't work. Just take everything, just do everything. Yeah.
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 Love it. I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, ultimately, it's a faith-based game, right? I mean, if you sit
Yes.
there, do nothing. I always say that laziness is not the root of procrastination.
Hmm.
It's usually fear, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Inaction is usually the fear of action.
Correct.
So, if you're fearful, most of the time you're fearful, you don't want to do anything because you're afraid to make more
Make
mistakes.
mention.
But
Yes.
if you're already at your worst scenario, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to happen because you're at the lowest point, like trading, right? It's at the lowest point, you cannot go any lower. Even if
Yes.
you suck at the next thing, I don't care, continue to do it. So
Yeah.
eventually it will turn up, is it? So I think that is the good thing about if you're at the
Yeah.
lowest point right now.
What is your secret of, being consistent? Perhaps you can tell us more about like why do you go into teaching? Right? People always ask like, if you're so good, you can make so much money doing trading, then why do you want to teach?
Yeah. I think the first thing about if you want to teach this, the goal should not be money first. Because some people want to go into this industry, they count, hey, what, one student can make how much? Well, your 10 student can make how much. If you
Yeah.
do it like that, max you do 1 year, 2 years, you will dry up already. That means you will not have that passion to continue. So what I found is how my business really got breakthrough is not by sorry, even though you're running ads, I want to share with you all, it's not just like running more ads. It's not
Yes.
like running more ads. It's really like getting your old student results.
Yes.
Yeah. So when your old student get result, then after a while, it is automatic already. The business
Yes.
become automatic. Really is about getting result for your old old graduate. So even like right now, we have so many new sign up that we are
Yeah.
telling our Facebook ads to tone it down because really cannot handle the back end cannot handle business. So
Wow.
really
Okay.
the precision is get result for the old student. And why, if you want to go into this business, don't focus on the money. Because you focus on the money, yes, you can make like quick money,
Yep.
but you make yourself a bad name. After a while, you join in, then you 1 2 years you disappear, and 2 years
Yes.
later you come in again. Then you're not in there for the long run. You will create a bad name for yourself. So if
Especially
you do
when
it
you
consistently over time, then you'll get results. Yeah.
especially
Sorry.
when you are in for the money, usually you may not create the best experience for your students, right? And
Correct.
not getting
Correct.
results for that because you're constantly focusing on getting new students rather
Yes.
than helping the current student. Like I
Right.
mean, like earlier when you said like you don't have to apologize. Like I
Yeah.
believe also, I
Yeah.
believe that it's not just my ads.
Uh,
Even though I teach people that we should run ads at the beginning, right? Because
Ah.
ads will give you the initial boost.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's still your reputation and your testimonials and your experience.
Correct.
You know, if you cannot run ads, for ads is always like initial, right? But once you hit a fatigue, right, it will start dying.
Correct.
And it's doing that rising that you should quickly use this period to double down on your students, reinvest back into your students, making sure they got results, and then and then your organic traffic will take over ads, and you may not have to pay for ads ever again.
Correct.
So I believe in that. That's so profound.
Yeah.
So focusing on your student and helping them get results. So then why do you want to teach in the first place?
Yeah. So after I pay off my debt, then I thought, hey, what I want to do with my life? You know, make money. Yes, I can make money from the market, can trade and things like that. But how to have how to make my life meaningful, you know, that have significant. So I felt that, hey, this guy who actually lost this money, right, $250,000. He was younger than me. He lost 10 years of his life. He was declared bankrupt and lost 10 years of his life. So I thought, hey, this is something that I want to do. I want to educate people what trading is about, you know, because during that time, many years ago, the way they run ads is very scary. They say, oh, you can start with $1,000 and within 1 year you can become a millionaire and things like, wow, I see this kind of ads, I'm very scared, you know, because it is not about trading, it's basically like gambling, you know. So during that time, I felt that there was this thing that I wanted to do something and share with you. First few years of doing training, I lose money one. I was basically taking my other business to pay for my training business. Yeah. So I wasn't doing well in ads and things like that. I was just sometimes like 1 month I have like 2 students and things like that. It's bad, it's bad. Yeah.
Wow.
So but I continue. So right now it is thank God now it's everything is on its own already. It means it's a new life to it already.
That is so good. I think one of the main reasons, like you said earlier, is because you focus on the long term. And like sometimes you may think you're winning. If you're running short term, you make some money, you may think you're winning, but you know, time tells, right? Because you know, you're only looking at the lens of 1 year.
Correct.
Okay, and you cannot tell what's going to happen in 5-10 years.
Correct.
Right. And what you just said was so profound, because you mentioned that like at the beginning you're not even like making a lot of money.
Correct.
In fact, you said you're making some losses, right? But you're focusing on the student, and eventually your results speaks for itself.
So one idea we to share with the people listener, right, is when I started my business, there was a word that came to my mind was called community. Build a community. So since the start of my thing, right, is always focused on how can I benefit, how can I grow my community to have a better community. So it's always like giving back. So for me, it's not about even passion or about making money. It's really about purpose. It's what is Collin on this earth? What is his role on this earth? So for me, it's this SMT community, which is my training. So I envision myself, even though I'm old, I got no money or whatever, I will still do this, you know, because number one, frankly, I enjoy doing this. Every week, I still do every week since like 1-5. Right? That means if I attended course 10 years ago, since 2015, I've been doing weekly webinars and things like that. So I enjoy doing it. And second thing is the result come in other forms, like when your graduates, when people that you work with or people that went through your course get result. Wow, that's the best. That's the best validation. They say, hey, you can continue to do anything. You can continue to do it. Yeah.
I actually have another follow-up question for you regarding getting results for your student. It's also a challenge for me. I wouldn't say it's a struggle. It's something that I think is a challenge for every single trainer. That when we are teaching, I mean, of course, the purpose of the teaching is very important, right? For me, I want to make sure, I want to raise the standard of marketing in Asia, because like I see the way some people run ads, you know, I just cannot take it. So that's the reason why I'm teaching, and I believe that this skill set is going to help people. But one of the hardest thing for me is when I teach people, I realize it's not just giving them the skill set, right? Like teaching the skill set is super easy, right? Telling them what to do, what ads to run, but is to get them to even do it in the first place. And it's changing people's mindset rather than just teaching them the skill set. So like, how do you do that, especially in trading? You know, like you know, some people are more trading, especially, you know, there's always like a certain risk. People are more greedy or emotional, exactly, right? So how do you change people's mindset to help them to get result?
Correct. Yeah, exactly right. You know, you say skill is easy to teach, you know, like what to do is easy to teach, you know. But the difficult part is really transforming whatever you they learn, right, in the class to practical implementation,
Yes.
to implementation. So what I did a few years ago is we have this idea of like mentoring. So
Okay.
the more senior people will mentor the junior people. Okay, they will bring them through a period of time. So it means once you go through the course already, within a period of like 60 days, we will be they will be in a WhatsApp group, and then they will talk about every day what they do, and then after that process, they will build habits that will ingrain into them for the rest of their life.
Mm,
So I believe trading is about discipline, is about habits, is about doing the same thing over and over and over again. Formula like it's about formula, but doing it over and over again. So after the course, right, what is most important to make sure that the skill become results is really uh, getting them with the coach, right, to go through that 60-day process to build a habit. So the keyword is habit. Because it said
okay.
20 days build a habit, So we make
Ah,
sure that in the WhatsApp group, in the uh, conference call and things like that, with in a small group, right? They have like 10 of you all in a small group. They make sure that they dive down to, hey, what are you doing these 2 weeks? What are you doing these 2 weeks? Don't lose the cost fee, because the cost fee you already paid for it already, right?
yes.
Translate that cost fee into practical results. And in trading is there's a lot of variable. You may lose money and things like that. So how do you actually translate that skill set into habits, into results at the end of the day? Yeah. So that's what I did for my
Wow. Okay.
graduate.
So
Yeah.
so that's really good. So basically, the first thing to change is really the habits, right? Getting them to take small action and doing
Yes.
again and again, right? Because
Correct.
repetition is the mother of all skills.
Yeah.
And what I like about you, what you said, I'm learning something, by the way, just by that. You actually turn your community into people to support those newcomers.
Correct. Correct.
Right?
So
And therefore, you actually strengthen those people who are supporting and teaching, because when you teach, you get better, right? So it's both ways.
that's right. That's right. And the beautiful thing is, everything is about fundamentals. It's
Mm.
not fanciful stuff, It's just like doing 4 things over and over and over again. So the seniors, they will not say it's 4 things. The juniors also is 4 things. But it's just the small thing in these 4 things